That about sums up my feelings right there. 3 days to go. That's it. It's the day after tomorrow. Because I'm technically because I'm going to a midnight showing. It's technically gonna be Thursday night when I see it. So can't believe we're getting so close. And it's just I've been working on my costume, which I posted some pictures in the Narnia web forum, and I'll show a video of it here when I do it. And I'm pretty pleased with the costume, and I'm all set for midnight showing. It's just here we are. After all this, here we are. Today is Prince Caspian soundtrack released. And I thought it'd be a really interesting exercise to try to, sort of a test, I guess you could call it, to try to see how much I can guess just based on the soundtrack, and which is not right at all, because this is music that was written for visuals. Harry Gregson Williams saw the visuals and then wrote music for it. I'm gonna do the opposite. I'm gonna try to take the music and come up with visuals for it. Really, you can't judge a good soundtrack, a good score, based on just the score. You have to see the visuals it was written for, because that was the whole reason it was written. A soundtrack is, the goal is not just to be a great soundtrack. It's got to further the story. There's a lot of things a soundtrack has to do in a movie. But I think it'll be fun here. Like after I see the movie, this will be a fun. Oh gosh, I can't believe how close we are after I see the movie this weekend. It'll be fun to look back on this video and see how much I got right. So I'm going to do some of that. But the soundtrack is now in stores, and I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on it right now. The first track, Prince Caspian Flees. This is presumably the opening credits, where Caspian's being chased through the forest by the Telmarines. And I think right here, first off, interesting, it starts fast right away. So I think that's probably not how the actual movie begins, with that music, I would think. But I could be wrong, obviously. I'd probably be wrong on most of this. But there's a theme here. I think there is a theme for the idea of return. A theme for the theme of return. A theme for the theme of return. It's that da 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 da. That's how you hear it when it comes full force in the Return of the Lion track. And I hear hints of it before that. But then in track 11 it just comes full force and you really get to hear it. I think that might be a theme for the idea of return, because I haven't been able to find a Caspian theme. Maybe this is Caspian's theme, I don't know. But I think maybe anytime in the movie when it's really like things from the old days coming back, that's the theme they play. So that's one of the ideas I've got. I think it's really fast-paced, this track, and then right at the 3:20 mark, it kind of slows down. And I envision, like, he's going through the forest and then comes to that place where it opens up. And so that's kind of what I'm envisioning it's going to be. I think right at the 4-minute mark, that's when he sees Knickerbocker Trump outside their hole. That's when he sees them. And then that's all him like fumbling with the horn and everything and blowing it. I'm not quite exactly sure exactly how it plays, but I think that's what it's going to be. Track 2, The Kings and Queens of Old. I think the beginning. I'm surprised at how slow the beginning is, because I feel pretty sure that right at 1:17. It plays the same theme from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe as when Lucy got into Narnia in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It plays the same theme here. I imagine that's when they're walking out onto the beach and it plays that music. But so everything before that seems kind of too slow to be when they're transported. Or maybe that's something, maybe they've cut out a section here, I don't know. But or maybe it's just when they walk out, that's the slow stuff. And then when they're like playing in the water, that's when it plays that Lucy wardrobe theme. And right at 2:45, I think it's interesting. There's a really slow version of the Lucy theme, which is pretty interesting to listen to. Track 3, Journey to the How. It's this. A lot of the soundtrack is strangely sad and kind of toned down. I think right at the 2-minute mark, it gets really intense and big all of a sudden. I think that's when the bear comes out. it seems to fit. It goes, duh, it builds up, and then the bear gets shot, I think is what's going to happen. Track 4, Arrival at Aslan's How. The beginning, of course, has the same theme as their arrival at Aslan's camp in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then it transitions from that into the coronation theme from Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And this, of course, must be when they're actually entering Aslan's How, and it goes on for a while. It makes you wonder, like, gosh, how long are they going to spend on? It is an important theme in the story, so if they want to spend a lot of time on it, I've got no objections. But I'll be interested to see how much time are they going to spend on it, which is going to be neat. Goes on for a really long time, though. Right at 2:08, you hear a similar theme from when Edmund first finds Narnia in the first movie. And I think maybe that's when they're looking at the carvings, or they're inside Aslan's How, or something happens there. The castle, track 5, Raid on the Castle. Well, this is a really emotional track. Starts out really dark and sad, but if you listen here, I think it sounds. Maybe it's just because I kind of know how the night raid turns out. I know it doesn't go well. Maybe it's because I know that, but it has this sort of dark inevitability, like almost like you know it's something it's not going to go well if you really listen to it. There's this inevitability about it. Which I think is interesting. Right at 3:03, what we call, it's not really strictly accurate, but what we call the Phoenix theme plays, and I think that's when things start going really well. It looks, oh, maybe the Narnians are actually going to win. Then right at 4:03 gets darker again. At 4:58, I think it gets, it gets sadder, and I think that's the moment when Peter or whoever just says, "Bail out, we can't win, head for the hills, run." And right at 5:57, I think something sad happens here. Maybe because we know that Sirius sacrifices himself. Maybe that's it. But that sounded really sad, like when they play that. And it's the same music as the Aureus Charge from the first movie, and so that sounded really emotional. Very emotional track. Track 6, Miraz Crowned. I can't really set any specific scenes to this. Like I think there's going to be one slow set the crown on his head thing. But one thing this made me think of. Now it's unlikely that all the songs are every single track is in the same order that it's going to be in the actual movie. That's kind of unlikely. But it made me wonder, could it be that Miraz is crowned after the night raid? It would actually kind of make sense. Like, we know that Miraz initially spreads this lie that Caspian's been kidnapped, I guess as an excuse to attack the old Narnians. Maybe he does that initially, and then after Caspian takes part in the night raid, he says, well, screw Caspian, he just attacked us, he's our enemy now, make me king. He's Lord Protector at this point, make me king, and so they decide to make him king there. And which propels the movie into the third act, that's like the low point of the movie for the Narnians, where it's like, now they just got their butt kicked to the night raid, and now Miraz is officially king. I think that sounds like a really neat change. Like I've always was really interested in that part in the book when Cornelius talks about. We don't see it, but Cornelius talks a lot about how Miraz, manipulated the system and killed all these people off and cheated to get to the throne. And I was always really interested in that part. And for the movie, I think it's going to be really cool to actually see that, actually see what he was talking about, because that's a part of the book that always interested me. And so that's a change where, and not only am I just like, it's not where I'm just, well, I'm okay with that, I can live with it. I like it, I love it. If I heard they took that out, I'd be upset. I think that's going to be really cool to see that part of Miraz that we heard about, to actually see it in a movie, which seems like a good adaptation. They talk about it, which works fine in the book, but in a movie you want to actually see it in general. And so I'll be really interested to see that. So that's part 1 of the soundtrack analysis, and now hopefully get part 2 done tonight. If not, I'll have part 2 up tomorrow. So.